To our fourth episode in our Angry Zombie series. In this series, we're creating a replica of the classic game called Angry Birds. If you're new here, my name's Gino, and on this channel we create some awesome Unity games. Currently we are on our third series. In our first one we created a simple runner platformer where you ran from one side of the scene to the other while avoiding obstacles. In our second one we created a simple game called Breakout where you use a paddle and a ball and you launch the ball up into the scene and break some blocks. In this series, like I said, we're creating a classic clone of the game called Angry Birds, but instead of birds we're obviously using zombies. So in this episode 4, let us go and switch this so we can have a look at what we're doing. So in the previous episode we set up our camera movement, but we don't really like our camera movement, so we will probably fix that and change it in probably in the next episode. But for this episode, let's go ahead and start working on some level creation, and then we're also going to work on destroying the objects, or once you've slingshot the skull into them. So once they collide with each other, we're going to go ahead and work on destroying them and taking them out of the scene. So let us go and open up Unity. So here's our project. This is where we left off yesterday. Let's have a look and see what's happening. So if we play our project, all we have is our slingshot and our skull. We can go ahead and launch our skull into our simple level that we created yesterday, and when our skull collides with some objects they move around. That's because we added in our rigid bodies and our colliders onto them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and delete all of these and just come up with a very basic simple level, and then once we've got that we will probably start working on like our animation of exploding some of the objects like the TNT when it collides with them, or when anything collides with it really. And then what we will do after that is we will probably work on okay, so I think that's it. So in this episode all we're going to do is we're going to work on creating our level, and then once we've created our simple first level, we will start with the collisions. But before we do that, the first box on the list is we need to add in our game background just so it looks a little bit better. So let us go and do that. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and create a new UI and then an image, and then by doing that it's going to create us a little it's going to create a canvas for us. So here's our little image in the corner. So what we can do is we can click on our image, go and expand our rect transform component on the image, and then let's go ahead and expand the image so it fills up the entire screen, and then we'll anchor this in the middle. And then what we want to do is we want to replace our background, our source image, with our background image that we had in our art file. So now we've got our background, but that's actually in front of everything, so let's go ahead and fix that. So to do that, let's go to our camera, where is it? Canvas rather, and in render mode we want to select our screen space camera, and then we want to drag and drop our main camera into our render camera, so that will put our image behind. So that looks good. If we go ahead and play this, now we should see that even when the skull moves, the image doesn't, it just stays in one place. So that looks good. But what we do need to do is we actually need to fix our floor and add in some more tiles, because when you pull it back you can see there's a gap here underneath. So we'll go ahead and put some more dirt in there, and we'll probably just extend this a little bit because you can only pull this back so far. So let's go do that quick. So what we want to do is we want to go into our scene view, and let us go click on floor, double click on floor so we can focus on it. So let's see, do we have any just plain dirt tiles? So if we go into our art, let's see, where's our, or are they under prefabs maybe? If we make this a 2-column layout, we can probably expand this so that we can see what we're working with. So let's go into our art folder. Are they in here? There's our tile map, but we can't just use that. we have to probably go into a prefabs folder. Tiles, there it is. So in our tiles we want to use just our tile map, or this one I would say. And then what we want to do is, my mouse is not working, okay. So first of all, let's go ahead and move this one. We'll put it back and then we'll slide it, or let's just go and copy, and probably we'll copy the first 10, I'd say. Copy them, or rather we'll copy the first 9, well the first 9 starting from the second one, copy those and paste them. And then what we want to do is we want to select those 9 as well as our our first one, and let us move it. Okay, that's not working how I wanted it to, so let's see what that's doing. Okay, clearly I copied the wrong one, so let's go and undo that. So if we click on this one, that is okay, so that's the first one. So let us go and copy, which one is it? Okay, it doesn't really matter. We'll copy the first 8, paste them, and then we'll select from that one to there. Then we'll drag those ones to there, just like that. And then what we can do is just drag this one over here. We probably won't even need that one because we'll never actually see that one. So if we copy that one and paste it just there, and we'll do the same just to make our ground look like we don't just have nothing when we move the camera. So just to speed this up, let's just go and select all of them and paste them just like that. And then we can actually just select all of these, copy and paste them, zoom out and move them over here, and then we'll do the same thing, but let's go and copy that one, paste that one over there. So let's go and copy all of them, and now we will move. Okay, we need to select all of them first. Okay, so copy all of them and paste them, and then together we'll move them down. I don't understand why that one's being like that, but anyway, because it's spawned up there, so we'll put that one back down here. Not in, okay, let's try and get this out like that. Okay, so that looks fine. We'll copy and paste that one, put that one over there. And then what we want to do is, let's just go ahead and copy all of them again. Why can I not select all of them? So click the first one, push down, select, okay, copy, and paste them. And we will paste these guys over there. And then we'll copy them again, and paste these guys over here. And then what we can do is we can, I think, let's just copy these guys, copy them, paste them, move them like that. And we just need one more. There we go. So that should be fine. We can go ahead and just delete this guy because we will never see him, so we don't really need the ending. And then we'll just finish this off by putting these like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and tidy up our project. So if we select all of our tile maps, then we'll drag them into our floor folder or floor empty object, so that looks a lot cleaner. So let's go play our project and see what happens. Now hopefully we don't see the black in the background, so if we pull back on our slingshot, yeah, you can just see the ground. So that's fine, and if we sling that, that's fine. Okay, so that looks a lot better. So now let us go and tick that off. So we've added in the game background, and we also worked on fixing our floor. So let's go ahead and set up a simple level. So we've already got this level here, so we could probably just change this up a bit. So first of all, we don't really want these to be floating, so we'll go ahead and put these like right next to each other. Same with these guys. We'll push them down a bit, otherwise they just look like they're floating. So we'll move these like this. And we'll move our TNT block, which I want to make smaller, so let's go 0.2 by 0.2, or we could probably say 0.3 maybe. 0.3 like that. So that's going to be one TNT block. So whenever anything hits that, whether it's the skull or like a pane of glass that falls down on it, or a stone, we're gonna trigger an explosion. So it should explode, and hopefully we can figure out how to get it to destroy the things in like a certain radius around it. So we'll see what we can do with that. So let's go ahead and make this the same size, 0.3 I think it was, by 0.3. We'll put that guy over there, and then let's see what else we have. So these are all prefabs that we created. So before we do anything else, I just want to go ahead and drag and drop our slingshot into our prefab folder, so we can make a prefab out of that. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for our floor, just so if we do want to reuse these somewhere in the project, we can just drag them and drop them and not have to redo all of that. So let's go ahead and see what else do we have. We have stone and glass. We have a floor. That's some prefab. What am I doing? So in our art folder, here we go. So in our art folder we have, do we have anything else we can use? We've got glass. These are all not things we can use. Stone we've used, TNT we've used. Okay, we've got a bit of wood. Okay, no, so that's an animation. Let's see what those do. Well, let's have a look and see. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and set up these animations for our zombies and see what happens. So we'll add that to this episode just because I think creating a level is not going to take long. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and create another folder and call this animations. And then let us, where is our level? So under our level we added our zombies in, so we can find zombie, let's start with zombie 1. So we'll click on zombie 1, and then in our animation window, or whatever this is called, we'll just go ahead and say create. So in our new animations folder, I don't know if that's this one, but project zombies animations. So okay, let us create a zombie -1, and we'll just save it like that because we're not going to have any other animations other than an animation for zombie 2. So we can go back into our art folder and let us select all of our images, drag them into our animation, and if we play this, we will see that our zombie will slightly move up and down. So if we spread that out a bit, okay, so that's a bit too slow, let's say about half of that. Okay, so let's just go ahead, pause that, and then if we play our game, hopefully the zombie will move a little bit so we can see what it looks like in our... Okay, so that doesn't look that great. Maybe, let's see if we try and speed it up. Okay, so let's go back to zombie 1. Let's go and speed this up a bit by dragging it closer to each other. So maybe something like that. If we play that, okay, it's not a very good animation, but we'll leave it like that. Just because these are the images that the asset pack provides us with. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, I don't like that, but anyway, we'll leave it. We'll do the same thing for the second zombie. We'll create another animation. We shall save this in the same folder, animation. In the wrong one, where are we? Angry zombies. There. Oh no, sorry, it's supposed to be named. Okay, so we named that in the wrong folder, did we? No, we didn't. Okay, so that's good. So let's go and say zombie-2, and then we can drag in our pictures for this guy, which are all of these, and then we'll spread that out a bit. Okay, so that looks fine. We'll leave that like that. So now if we play our game, we should see both our zombies now move a little bit. It doesn't look very nice, but that's the animation the asset pack provides us with. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so anyway, we'll leave it like that. Let's go ahead and start working on the... Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's see if we can add in anything else into this. So art. Go ahead and take that away. Do we have any other things we can add in? I don't think so. We have a wooden block that we could probably use. Maybe we could probably make something over here, maybe. Yeah, let's just make something here quick, just to add some different elements into our scene. So we'll put this guy in here, and then we'll just add in another wooden block over there, and then another one on top of that. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and delete all of these, because what we want to do is drag this one in, and then we want to first of all add in our rigid body 2D onto it, and then also our collider 2D, box collider. Make sure we don't have to edit our box collider, we don't, so that's fine. Then we will rename this to wood-1. Well, let's rename it to horizontal wood -1, and then we will drag that into our prefab folder so we can reuse it. And then for our second one, we will do the same thing. Copy the name, paste that, and we'll go -2 because they look slightly different, but they're both going to be horizontal. So we'll go and add in our box collider, which is fine. We don't have to make it smaller. And then we'll add in our rigid body 2D. So that's going to allow us to collide with them and also move them once you collide with them. So if we drag that into our prefab folder as well, okay, create a prefab out of that. So that looks good. So now we can add this one over here maybe. We can add in another one on top of it. And then we can go ahead for this one, we can... Let's go ahead and on the horizontal, or on the Z axis, let's go and rotate it 90 degrees. And then we'll drag that one down a little bit, like that. And we'll copy and paste that, we'll put one over here, like that. And then just to make the level slightly more difficult, we'll just go ahead and add in a TNT block over here. So now that we've got, we'll leave that as our first level. Yeah, so we'll leave that as our first level, and then we can go ahead and drag our first level into our prefabs folder. So now we can easily just delete our first level, but if we want to add it in again, we can just drag it and drop it in. So having done this, we can actually put as many as we want into the scene, but that doesn't really make sense. So We'll just add in one for now. Cool. So let's see if it's at the right distance from the slingshot, if we can get there with enough, with our fully extended slingshot. So okay, so that looks good. That looks perfect actually. So let us try and work on destroying some of the objects. So let's think about this. So in our game, the only things that we actually want to destroy are the zombies and the TNT blocks. So when the skull when we slingshot the skull into this area and it collides with, say, the glass or the stone or the wood, if that falls onto our zombie, then we want to destroy our zombie. Or if the skull collides with the TNT block, we want to go ahead and explode the TNT block. And the same thing with the stones and the glass. If they fall on top of the TNT, we want to go ahead and destroy the TNT block. Or we want to explode it, but also destroy it and take it out the scene. So let us try work on that. So let us go into our scripts folder and we will create a new script called explode. And then if we drag this script onto our TNT blocks, in this case our TNT prefab, which is over here, so we'll open that up. And then we will add in our explode script, so that's fine. So now if whatever we do, yeah, okay, so this is going to be easier. So if we create, we don't need to add in a tag onto here, but we'll just, okay, we'll leave that out for now. So let's go ahead and open up our script, which is this one. We'll open up our explode script. We'll wait for that to open up. So now let's see. So if anything collides with our TNT block, then we want to explode it. So that should be easy to set up. And then let's see if this opens up. Everything should be fine. We can start programming. Okay, so we don't really need these guys, so we'll go ahead and delete them. And then I think the only thing we really need to do is say on, what is it, on collision enter 2D. Let's go and say debug.log collision dot name. No, what is it? Collision dot collision. Yeah, so it will be collision dot game object dot name. So that's going to give us the object name that is colliding with it. So let's go ahead and see if this actually works. Where has it gone? So over here, first of all, swap these because I prefer it to be that way around. Just preferences. Okay, so let us play our game. Let's see if we get anything printed in our console. So clearly something has happened. So if we go and fire our skull into it, okay, we didn't really reach it, so let's go and do that again. So horizontal stone and glass. So here you can see that our TNT is probably like dropping down onto these things. So let's just see. So if we launch this guy, okay, why can we not reach the TNT block? Let's try that again. We will play our game. Hopefully this time we can actually reach the TNT. So let's make this bigger and a little bit higher. Okay, now, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna make this a lot easier. And let's go and drag this guy. We will move him over here. So let's see, hopefully now we can collide with our TNT block. Okay, so there we are. We can see that our skull has now collided with our TNT block. So when this happens, we want to go and delete the TNT block from the scene. So first of all, we need to figure out why our we need to fix the collisions on here first, because at the moment something here, horizontal stone, which is this guy, and our vertical stone, which is this guy, is actually touching the TNT block. So if we move those a little bit, hopefully now we only see the horizontal stone being printed. Okay, so that's fine. So to make this, let's just move that up a bit and see if that works. Okay, so that works for now. So we'll leave that like that. So let's go ahead and start working on our, let's go and open our prefab TNT block so we can start working on our animation. So let's say we'll select that, and then we want to create a new animation, and we'll call this explosion, or should we call it that? Or let's see. Hold on, let's see. I suppose it makes sense if we do that. So let's go and let's do that. Explode. That's not how you spell explosion. Where did that go? Okay, let me just go into a folder and let's just go and fix that. So game development, Unity game builds, where's Angry Zombies? This one. This guy, where is it? Assets, Angry Project Zombies. So many folders, animations. Okay, you know what? Let's just go and delete that, because we'll delete that and then we will make it again from scratch. So create new so hopefully you get it right this time. So let's go and drag in our explosion. So under art we should have an explosion. So these guys, so let's drag all of these into there and we'll play that. So that's what it's going to look like, but that's a bit too fast. So we'll drag those out maybe like that. Okay, so let's just play this and see what that looks like. So it should play from the start. Okay, it doesn't. So let us figure out why. So if we go back into our scene view, click on our TNT, we have got an animator. So that's fine. Okay, so it only happens to that one. So let's go and play. Let's just play and see what happens. So okay, so nothing clearly. Okay, first of all of our TNT blocks have it on. So if we go into our animator, we need to see on entry. I'll delete that first of all. And when how can I move properly here? So annoying. Okay, so when we from entry we want to, let's see how we want to do this. First of all, let's go back into our explode script, and here we want to make a reference to this explosion. So let us go and say 2 seconds, let's see. So here let's say serializable field, so we can access it in the inspector. We'll call this, we'll make it a think it's a, what's it called, animation clip or something. Let's see what it's called. Controller. Okay, we'll just type and see. And animation clip, I think it's called. We'll call those explosion. So we'll drag in our explosion onto that. And then we want to say, you know, instead of debugging and printing out what we're colliding with, let's go and say, first we'll need access to our animator, so let's go and say, same thing, but we'll change our animation clip to our animator, and we'll just call this animator with a small a, like that. And then hopefully on here we can go and say animator dot play explosion. I have a feeling that this is the wrong way to do it, but let's see. I did this in our first series, so let's just go back to that and see how we did it. Or we can just Google this and say in Google Unity play one shot. Okay, no, so that's for sound. Play animation.play. Let's see. Okay, so that's how you do it. So let us go and instead of animation clip, we'll say, well, first of all, let's go and make this private string, read only string, because we don't need to change it. Explosion, which is going to be equal to our explosion. Like that. Okay, so that should work. So let us see. If we play our game, go back into our game view, play this and see what happens. So first of all, let's go into our scene. So all of our TNT blocks are there. So if we launch this guy, okay, so something's wrong here. So let us pause the game and say, let's see, the variable animator of explode has not been assigned. Okay, so we need to drag that in. So open that up and we'll drag our animator into there, and we'll go ahead and play it again. Let us see what we get this time. So on trigger, we should alright, so let's see, animator dot go to state, no, could not be found. Okay, so let's go to animator. Okay. So when we enter, we want to what's this? Create a state. Let's see how we do this. Unity animator. Okay, so let us try it this way. Unity, or let's do this so we can see what's happening. So I can close it. So if we go back to Google, over here we want to try and see, let's say Unity, what should we type in? Unity. So we're trying to play an animation. Make transition to there. I'll just go ahead and so let's try something different. So if we undo that, so we got a transition here, default entry transition display in orange. Oh, not preview. To preview a transition, please select a state. Great, okay, that's not working. So make a transition to explosion, and for that we want to add in a condition I'll delete that. Why can I not create a new one? Plus. Okay, that's why, sorry. We go to parameters and add in a trigger, and we'll say just hit. So on here, wrong one, so select that animation trigger, and we'll call this hit. So when something is hit, we need to play the explosion. So let's go back to our scene, and let's try and see over here, animated dot let's say let's set trigger hit. Oh, I hate it when it does that. Just put one like that. Dot set trigger. Okay, so we probably won't need that. So let us see if that gives us anything of what we're looking for. So if we set the hit trigger to true whenever we hit it, we should hopefully get an explosion, but we don't. Let us go and see what's happening. So for our TNT blocks, which one are we using? We'll start with this one. Okay, well let's see. Well, let's try something else then. We'll go back to Google and say Unity play animation on collision. Like that. How to play an animation when collision. Hopefully. Let's see how to play an animation when collision. Okay, let's try something else. So what was I going to try? So in our animator tab, let's create a new state called idle. So idle, and then from our entry, we want to make transition to our idle state, and then we want. Okay, so we don't want is hit. And then we can go from our idle, make transition to our explosion, and in there we want to say is hit. Now we don't want to have an exit time, transition period duration is 0. Let's see, and then we need to try and get rid of this guy. we'll just get rid of that because. And let's go ahead and play our game and see what state we're in. So if we go into the animator, let's see, we're playing the explosion animation, but that's not what we want. We only want the well, let's just put it back to how we had it. So let's go and say collision.gameObject.name, just so we can see if we are colliding with anything, what we're colliding with. So if we play our game, hopefully nothing gets printed here, which that's fine, but for some reason we are still going into our explosion state, even though we haven't really hit anything. So let's try and figure out what's happening. So let's see. We'll delete that. All this. We'll delete our base layer. We need to try and figure out how to get rid of this. So let's Google that. Unity won't let me delete animation transition. Well, let's just try and delete this guy. Not that, so we'll delete him. Okay, so now let's play this, and so we'll go from our entry into an idle state. So hopefully this will work. Okay, so we're playing an idle animation, which is nothing, and then we'll create an empty state and call this our explosion. Like that, and then from our idle state we want to make a transition to explosion, and then for our parameters we want to delete this, and we want to add in a trigger as hit, and for our transition we want to make sure it has no exit time, take the transition duration off, set that to 0. We want to select that on a preview transition source state does not have motion. Okay. That's weird. Okay, so let's see if we can drag in. Okay, we can't. So let us just delete that because that's not working, and then we will go ahead and delete our animation, delete that guy, and then we can create a new one. So for our TNT, let's go and create a new animation called explosion, project zombies, animations, and we'll call this explosion, like that. And then we can drag in our explosions again. Do we need all of them? Probably. So yeah, we'll just drag all of them in. I'll just expand that a little bit so it's a bit slower. So that's fine. And then let's go back. So now we have an explosion state here. And then from our idle transition, or from idle we want to transition to explosion. And then we want to make our conditions to our is triggered hit, so hopefully that will work. And then we want to get rid of the exit time, set the duration to 0. Let's go play this and see. No, that's not working. So we will do this again. Try and see if we can get the second one, because we added our animation onto that guy. Okay, it's going to take us forever to do that. So let us go to this guy, or select our second one, which is him. We'll add him here, just to see if you get anything different. So if we play the game and launch our skull, okay, so that's not working, so we need to figure out why that's not working, but let's go ahead and just try something else. So let's go and say, do we need to create a new script for this, or can we do it in, we'll create a new script. So let's go in our script and create a new zombie script. Let's say zombie, and then we can go ahead and open this guy up. It's a bit slow today, don't know why. So let's go open our script. Okay, so now we probably don't need these guys yet, so we'll delete them, and then we can say on collision enter 2D. And then let us say, well, let's just go and say debug again .log and see what we're colliding with. So we'll say collision.gameObject.name. So that is going to print out the name of everything that hits our zombies. But what we want to do first is open up our zombie prefab. So this guy, add in our zombie script onto him. And the same thing for zombie 2, add in our zombie script, and then if we play our game, let's see what we get. So we're gonna have to launch this probably like that, so okay. We need to try and figure out how to get over those TNT blocks. I could probably just move them, but we'll try one more time. If we can't get there, then we will okay, so we did print out stuff, so our vertical and horizontal stone worked. Let's go back into our scene. Let's just move our TNT blocks out the way. We'll put them over there. Probably just drag them through everything. Put another one over there just at the back so that we can deal with our zombies first. We'll try and fix the TNT blocks later. And then let's play this and see if we launch this into our blocks. Okay, so we got a horizontal stone colliding. Do we though? We definitely got our vertical stone colliding with our skull, or with our zombie. Not too sure about a horizontal stone. Horizontal stone 1, which is this. Oh, okay, so maybe this one's collided with this guy. Okay, so that's fine. So in that case, let us go and just say just gonna say collision dot or should we just say game object dot name plus space and then plus that. So now it will tell us the name of the object and then the name of the object that collided with the object, if that makes sense. So we can see what's colliding with what, and not just what's colliding. So okay, so we'll play our game. Let's have a look and see. If we launch this guy like that, Okay, so here we can see zombie 1, which is, let's see, okay, we'll start with zombie 2. Zombie 2 is colliding with the horizontal stone, which is this one, and then zombie 1, which is this one, is colliding with our vertical stone. Where is it? Vertical stone, this one, and then twice with our vertical stone 2. Okay, so that's fine. That makes sense. Okay, so that's working fine. Move them down so they look like they're on the floor. Okay, that's fine. So let us see what else we have to do. So first of all, now let's just go and say, we can get rid of that, and then we can we need to destroy our zombie. Let us say destroy game object. So this is not really gonna debug and say destroy like that. So this is not really gonna work the way we want it to, because it's just gonna destroy it with any slight touch, which I suppose makes sense, but it's not what we really want. So if we go and launch this, you'll see that they move straight away, and that's not really what we want, because I think if we go into the actual game, we'll see, we'll have a look, we'll play the original one and see what it looks like. So let us see if it eventually plays. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. Let's just see if we can actually play this. I don't even know if this is a complete game, but let's see. So if we go easy. No. Okay, so they provide with the asset pack, they provide you these things, so you basically have to make it work instead of designing it and then making it work. You just make it work. So I suppose that makes sense. So that's not helpful at all for us, but anyway. So our game is kind of working. If we go back into our scenes, just go to our game scene. We can see that if we launch our skull into the stones, our zombie gets destroyed. But we could do something like this. So let's go and say, well, let's go and say private void destroy zombie, and then we will just pass in our collision 2D collision, not collider. Oh, in fact, actually we don't need to do that. So let's just say, let's just destroy our game object. So we'll take that, pop that in there, and in our on collision enter 2D we want to say invoke with a name of destroy zombie, and then we want to do that after 1 second maybe. So after we have collided with our zombie, after 1 second we want to destroy it, take it out of the scene. So I know that doesn't really make sense, but we'll see what it looks like. We could probably make it shorter. First of all, let's go to our scene and see something is already colliding with our first zombie because it's been taken out of the scene already. So if we go and do that, see, okay, so our zombie does get taken out of the scene after a second. So that's fine. We should probably make that a little bit shorter. Let's make that 0.2 maybe. Hopefully that will look better. We could probably leave it like that. Okay, so this is struggling a little bit, so we might have to end the stream early. Let's just see what this looks like, and then we'll probably end it there, and then I'll go ahead and look up ways to fix our explosion animation. So we can drag this out and expand that. Okay, so yeah, that looks better. We'll leave our destroying the zombie after 0.2 seconds, and then we also need to figure out what we are colliding with. So let's just do that quick. Debug .log. Let's say game object .name plus a space plus the collision .game object .name. So that's going to tell us what our second zombie is colliding with. So let us see. It's probably, I think it's the stone over here. So we could probably just in our level 1. Let's open up our level 1 over here. Let's just move him this way a little bit, and then we'll play our game. And probably now our zombie will be there, so nothing will probably get printed. Hopefully. Okay, so nothing gets printed, and our scene. If we go back to our game scene, okay, both our zombies are there. So let's go back to our game view, and we can now launch our skull. So that works nicely. So that's perfect. And obviously this guy didn't get destroyed because nothing collided with it, so that's fine. That's working nicely. And then, first of all, what we want to do is go into our level 1 prefab, which is somewhere over here. There it is. Okay, not level 1, sorry, our floor prefab over here. And then we want to actually go and add in okay, never mind. We want to do what I wanted to do, but we don't do it on our floor prefab, we do it on the parent object. So over here we need to just edit our box collider, make this a little bit bigger. Then we'll just expand this one, not that we need it, but because the skull will never go that way. So if we play our game and we launch our skull, so far that it goes way above everything, it bounces off the floor, so that's fine. What we could do actually is let's go back into our floor prefab. So let's open that. Where is it? So in our scene view. So here what we want to do is we want to make some sort of like ending over here. So if something like, if our skull, like you just saw me launch it all the way out the scene, we want to add like some sort of barrier over here. So we could do that by going to our art, and then where's our tiles? I can never remember where they are. So maybe they're in the prefabs. Tiles, there we are. So let us see. We don't want that one. We want this one. So if we drag this one in and put it over there, let's just zoom in like that. And then what else do we want? We want one with the purple on the side, if we have one of them. We don't, but what we could do is we could simply probably delete that one first. We'll delete that guy, and then we can take the horizontal one, drag him in, and rotate him 90 degrees, and probably just stick it over there like that maybe. Yeah, we'll just do that. And then we can do is copy it and paste it and just keep moving it up. So we'll just do that. Just like that, probably. We don't need to go very high, but we'll just do it like that. And then what we can do is select these and put them over here like that. Oh, this let's go delete them first. Delete that. And these two. Delete them. And then we'll just copy and paste these guys. And put them there. And the same thing for here, we will go put them over there. Like that. And just so that it looks better, delete these. Okay, why don't I just do that? So we'll delete all of those, and then why did they come back? Okay, so they didn't come back. So we'll select these, put them down a bit. Delete that one. Okay, we got another one there. Delete that one as well. And then what we need to do is we need to move one of them down a little bit, like that, just so we don't have that gap there. And then we'll go ahead and move these down a little bit. So we need to select all of them, like that, and move them down. Okay. So now that we've done that, we also need to add in another empty. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and expand our collider again, so up to there. But then we need to add in another collider over here. So if we go and create another empty object, we'll add in a collider, box collider 2D onto that, and then we can focus on it, and then move it this way, make it the same height as our wall. So we'll do that. So hopefully now if we play our game and we launch the skull so far that it goes past the level, which we will do now, so like that, we should see that it bounces off of that. Okay, so the skull never leaves the scene, so that's what we want. There probably is a better way to do that, but just for this tutorial or this game, we're just going to do it like that. Just leave it like that for now, and then we'll figure out another way in another game series. So let's go back to our game level, and for today I think we're going to leave it like that. I will go and do some research into how to fix our explosion, well, not how to fix it, but how to figure out why it's not working, and just see what we've done wrong. But for now, let's go ahead and commit all of this to GitHub, wherever GitHub is. Wherever it is, there it is. So let's see, what do we do today? We did level creation and explosion, so I'll go ahead and commit that. So created a simple level and started working on exploding our TNT blocks when hit. We also added in our background and we expanded our floor and added in a wall. So that's all we did today, so we'll go ahead and commit that, and then we will have a look, we'll push that to our origin, and then in the next episode we will plan to fix our camera movement, but we'll probably try and fix that as well as our explosions all in one episode, depending on how long that takes us. So we'll see. That should be episode 5. So yeah, and then once we get all of that working, we only really have to do the UI elements, so adding that in our score in the somewhere on the screen, as well as probably like a skull count, so how many times left you have a skull to launch. So we'll see if we can add that in as well. And then once, what we want to do, or what I want to try and do, is when you actually destroy a zombie, we want to play some sort of like appearance of a text that tells you like you've received this many points, and adds it to your score count in your top, I think it will be the top left or top right corner somewhere. So we'll see how that goes. And then after that, I think we will add in probably like an end of game menu, and then from there we'll add in some buttons onto that, which will allow you to either restart the game or send you to the main menu, or probably even exit the game completely. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, I think that's it for this episode. So thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. And if you're enjoying these episodes, please do give them a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you know of anyone else that enjoys making games, please do suggest these series to them. I have a lot more planned coming in the future. There's going to be a slight change to the schedule coming this week if you're watching this video, but I'll announce that probably in tomorrow's episode. So I think that's it for today's episode. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. So thank you and goodbye.
Careful with your pretty eyes and run with me. You're